Hey yo, what's up everyone? It's your boy Matt Diazable coming at you with a new music review. Thank you for coming on by. I appreciate it. Yeah. Today I'm checking out the latest release from a band called Puddle of Mudd with their newest album, Kiss the Machine. Now, if you're around in the 2000s, you definitely know this band for sure. But if you don't know, I'll give you a small history. They are a hard rock band based out of Kansas City, Missouri. They've been around since about the 90s, and they got their big break when their lead singer, Wes Scantlin, the only member that's been in the whole band the entire time. They've had countless member changes. He's their signature voice, their most, I guess you could say, the emotional center to the band, and their biggest chaotic piece because he's gone through like so many like things with the law and getting in trouble, alcohol related, getting arrested, crazy stuff. So if you want to check that out, he's got a very interesting background. But they got really famous when he gave Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit fame his demo in the early 2000s, and then they were able to create their debut album Come Clean, which has a really good banging song. You all know it is Blurry. It's a banging song. It's dope. And some other hits. And from then, the band has been able to make album after album throughout the past 20 years. Now, have they had a consistent track record? That's up for debate because it seems like a lot of people don't really enjoy a lot of what the band's doing because of the inconsistencies with, the member changes in Wes's personality and everything. So they've had a very up and down career as a band. But with this newest album, I'll give you my thoughts on it and everything. Kiss Machine, the overall, I would say, uh, yeah, what the overall struggles with this album is the mix that places Wes's vocals usually unusually high, highlighting the thin, sometimes whiny delivery, then supporting it. And across the album, most of the riffs feel really oddly generic or interchangeable. The music being made here, it's very familiar, but not in a good way, I would say. There's rarely a moment where the guitars carve out a very standout identity. The drums and bass, on the other hand, end up being the most consistent thing in the instrument musician side of the band. They're big, punchy, thick when needed, but even at their best, they can't completely mask how simple, how predictable, or how empty the songs often feel. Several tracks attempt that classic early 2000s emotional rock, Bermuda's, In Love with the Dancer, Baby You the Best. They all had shared the same problem. They feel like they're stuck in the past, which I get it. They popped off in the early 2000s. That's their style. You kind of stick with it. But there's not too much of an evolution here, it feels like. They feel really stuck in that past. The vocal cadences really strain for emotional depth, but they end up sounding really forced or overly dramatic. And just there's this big whole sense of like deja vu as you're hearing songs that resemble older ideas that the band has already done, but just feeling less inspired. And even when some of the choruses aim for big feels to them, they don't land with much impact, and the song structures just feel incredibly safe. That's another thing. It's very generic. It's kind of bland. It's music that you listen to in the background that doesn't bother you, but when you actually try and listen to it, you don't really remember much about it. Then there are moments where the band tries to get a little bit more experimental. Tracks like Back Against the Wall and later Everything. They jump into some like rap leaning vocals, trap style beats, and even like at the end of Back Against the Wall, it seems like it's going into this weird EDM transition that builds and builds and builds, but then weirdly goes nowhere. So it's like a minute of just random build up for no reason. And it just feels really awkward, mismatched, and just unintentionally a bit goofy. The production in these sections become a bit muddier, and Wes's delivery just isn't suited for these styles. He's not meant to be a rapper or do rap cadences. It just doesn't fit him that well. Instead of sounding fresh, it feels like the band is trying on clothes that just clearly don't fit them. Some songs take a softer direction, like Firefly or parts of Win Win, with acoustic layers, gentle build-ups, and there are flashes where the instruments do sound full and clean. But even in these better produced moments, the inconsistency returns. Vocals sometimes feel a little bit washed out, sometimes they're a bit too forward, and the attempts to add intensity with screams or raise dynamics really, it just feels very forced and rather natural. There's just a lot of inconsistencies with this album, either if you have mixing issue, a vocal issue, or just the instruments. It's either really generic or it just seems really off-putting at times. The heavier grunger moments, like on the song Manic, lean into this like garage rock, post-rock flavor that the band is known for, but the result comes off a little bit thinner, hollower, and just the influences are not really there. They kind of sound like a knockoff Nirvana here at times. The structures are a little bit too straightforward, and the tones don't really have any weight to them or any uniqueness to elevate the songs in general. And so by the time you get to the end of the album, everything just starts to blur together, and most of the album just feels like a uniform mix of dated ideas, bland riffs, and awkward vocal choices. Yeah, the songs don't really stand out, and they just feel either strange or ill-fitting in terms of the stylistic experiments, and they're just not generally memorable. It's not a completely terrible album, but it's just not a very memorable album either. So in the end, Kiss the Machine doesn't really leave a lasting impression. It plays a collection of ideas from a band that hasn't really figured out where they want to fit in the modern world of music making. You can hear the effort in some places, but the execution rarely hits the mark. The album isn't aggressively bad. It's just hollow, dated, and full of choices that don't quite land. And I would say overall, it's the kind of record that plays, it sits there, and then it fades away. It's in one ear and it's out the other. Like I said, background music at best. So this latest Puddle of Mudd Puddle of Mudd album, I would have to give it an all right 4.5 out of 10. Yeah. Let me know what you think about this band, this review. My reviews are really fast these days because I'm trying to get through a lot of reviews by the end of the year. So sorry if I made any mistakes to the band or to anything I said in here, like word-wise and stuff. Trying to get through this quickly, so critique me as well. So until next time, guys, see you in the pit.